we have today.
What you eat today, that's what he
I am Rita, and I want to welcome you to Live in the Salon with Benita and Rita. And tonight is my segment, and I have an amazing guy that I'm really excited to have on my show. And his name is Reggie Gordon. And I have a quick introduction because probably most of you know him anyway. But I have this quick introduction that I'll give to you, and then he and I are going to jump right in. So, I am pleased to introduce Reginald Gordon, who is CEO of the Richmond Memorial Hospital Health Foundation. Reginald is a respected leader known for his commitment to community impact, strategic partnership, and strengthening the systems that help people live healthier, more supportive lives. His work reflects both vision and service, and we are grateful to have him with us.
Oh, thank you, Rita.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you
for
inviting me.
So there's a lot that I want to talk about with Reggie because you've done so much, you know, and where you are now is a great place for us to have this conversation for both of us because we're a little bit older than when we first met.
Years ago.
Yeah. So let's start with Reggie, who you are, and even go back to when you were in DC.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can start at the beginning of my roots in Richmond.
Okay.
Because,
that's right.
I'm from here. I grew up on the North Side in Battery Park, and had a fantastic. This is key to my story. I had a fantastic childhood in North Side Richmond in the 70s.
Okay.
I mean, just a nurturing community, segregated. You know, if I walked to Norwell Elementary School, I had black male principal, black male teachers. All the other neighbors were. Parents were looking in on us. The school crossing guard knew our name. And we were told day in, day out, you will be somebody. Yeah. You will be successful. You will thrive. And so that just catapulted all of us to
believe it. Because that's what you heard.
Believe it. Heard it every day, all the time, at home and in the neighborhood. So that led me to finish high school, go to college, go to law school. And then,
and you were second generation college, right?
Yeah. My mother and father had gone to college, and
I'm sure there were a lot more in that neighborhood.
Yes, almost everybody had. But you know what was interesting back then? Whether your parents worked as a principal of a school, or I think Oliver Hill's family lived down the street, or the janitor at Philip Morris, equal.
That's what I get. I totally understand. I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi. And so we would go home, and my granddad lived on Pearl Street, and he was a bricklayer. But next to him was Mr. Holly, who was the superintendent of schools for the black kids. And across the street was a PhD who was at Jackson State.
There you go.
And so I know exactly. And then there was an LPN on the other side, but everybody was a neighbor. You're exactly right.
And we were just as fascinated by the father who was the janitor at Philip Morris as the father who was the judge. And it was just, so we had all these things to aspire to say, I want that career. I want to visit his job. So I realized that was so critical. I think something went.
Because there wasn't any class.
There wasn't any class.
Yeah.
We all black. We all enjoying. Celebrating and valuing everybody as an equal. And then we had things that we all walked to church. It was like this real. I had some white college friends visit me when I was at Duke. I went to Duke. They came home to visit. Came back home with me for like one of the breaks. They walked in my house in the neighborhood and said, "This is like Leave It to Beaver." Now I thought it was very interesting coming from white kids, because they had no perspective on the black community as we thrived.
That's right. Yeah. So it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
And so then, when I went through life realizing that I can do whatever I want to put my heart and mind to, and that got me to law school. And then after law school,
where'd you go to undergrad?
I went to Duke undergrad, and then to Howard Law.
Okay.
So I finished Howard Law. My first job was with Legal Aid in Emporia, Virginia.
Really?
Yeah. So that was an eye opener, because just as I talked about that bubble I was in, maybe in Richmond in the 70s, first job as a lawyer, I was dealing with folks who were struggling against the system. And folks walking into the lawyer's office. I remember this one woman came in, she was an elderly black woman, trembling, pulled out this piece of paper and it had red writing on it. And it said, she said, am I going to jail? It said disconnect notice. And I said, ma'am, no, you just got to pay your bill. And then she said, really? So that's when I real literacy. So imagine, I'm glad we were there in the community because she went to the lawyer because she didn't understand the writing on it and it looked official, and like she was in trouble. So that was very hard. Bless her heart. But that let me know that this is America. You know, it's like if you don't have the education or the access to someone that can help you, you might be victim to the system. And you know, and don't even know it. And don't even know why. Don't even know why. So I'm glad I did that. Then my next job was with Red Cross in DC as a in-house counsel. This was during the AIDS era. So I was the first black and youngest biomedical attorney. So we were dealing with all the proliferation of lawsuits then. We won the cases because nobody knew HIV was transmitted by blood. So yeah. So we travel the country defending the Red Cross, and this is where my story gets a little interesting because undergrad law school, you know, youngest person in these jobs and feel like I've done it. I'm succeeding. And then I began to hate that job. Because I realized that we were denying people they couldn't get any compensation for they were dying. But we were not negligent. So the system was, you know, it's too bad, you know, we have insurance, but I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to die. We have nothing we can do about it. So I became the face of that response. That was tough. And it was just being. So in other words, you were winning the case. Winning the cases, But then that was it. That was it. And that tapped into something internally for me about what am I doing? You know, is this success? I mean, some people. I'm not knocking law as a profession, but you know, that was challenging to think we can't give them any money. You know, even though we were wrong, we can't. And so it was a corporate law job. It was a pharmaceutical lawyer, technically. So and we're still fighting that. And we're still fighting it because it's our system. It's our system. So you can get, you know, that's how you get to make money when you win cases. But so you were with the Red Cross, and the Red Cross takes blood. Yes. And it was the blood that was given people. But this is prior to the test. Okay. So people didn't know why folks were getting HIV. This is old ancient history. Understood. So folks were, you know, people were getting sick, and then they finally figured out, people thought it was mosquitoes or whatever, and then they realized, no, it's the blood. And so so individuals did not know they had the virus. They were blood donors. And we didn't have a test at that point before we sold it to a hospital. Blood gets sold to hospitals. I understand. Yeah. And so then the hospital, so that's what you were winning. You were helping these folks win that it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. Oh, wow. We just didn't know it was infected. Yeah. So that was, so then I decided it took me 2 years or more. This is 1988. It took me up to 1997, quite honestly. The job was great at first. But then I had these revelations about how it didn't match with my own personal sense of... It's called alignment. That's what it's called? Yeah, you weren't in is that what it's called? Yeah, I'll take that. But you know, you're right. Yeah, it wasn't in alignment with your purpose for being on this planet. Exactly. So it took me 2 years, but I went to the Million Man March in October of 1995, and I was standing there in DC with all million brothers, and it was like a closed door meeting, and you know, speaker after speaker. And Farrakhan got up and he was talking about atonement and what are you going to do for your community? That's right. And I was like, you know what? I want to quit this job. I said, that's the first thing I'm going to quit this job because I don't want to be a corporate lawyer. I want to do something for my community. I had such a beautiful upbringing in Richmond. And by this point I heard that the Richmond schools were not top notch, and there was drugs. Things were changing. Neighborhoods. I was like, what? In Richmond? So it took me. I decided at the Million Man March. It took me 2 years to get back to Richmond. Okay. Because I had a great salary. Right. And I did informational interviews in Richmond. I drove down here.
Right.
And people were like, nope. We're not touching you for 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Because something wrong with you.
Yeah. You getting ready to do something. It was the Panthers or somebody else. They could tell.
Yeah. And plus the fact, we can't pay you no money here in Richmond. Mm-hmm. You want to work in nonprofits? Mm-hmm. Do you know what that means? Mm-hmm. And so
you get less than no money.
Less than no money. So they thought that was something. I was loose screw or on some kind of kick, like it's a Black Panther or bringing in fruit of Islam. So I just said, but I moved though. At that point, my marriage had fallen apart, and so then I was a single guy. Moved back home when the clock struck midnight on January 1st, 1997.
Wow.
In my little car, came back home.
With all of your possessions.
All my little possessions. And moved back to my mother's house.
Of course you did.
On Edgewood.
Yeah. And she was so glad.
But she was glad, but they thought something was wrong with me too. They're like, why would you stop being a lawyer? Making good money. Why
would you leave a good government job?
And come home to Richmond and say, I want to help people.
Which is what they taught you, by the way.
It's what they taught me. Right? Yeah, it was funny, right?
I know.
Funny, right? But they invested in me to get to the next level as opposed to being like a servant leader.
Yeah.
But it worked out. After 3 months, one of my a friend, Myra Goodman Smith, hired me.
Yeah.
She's at United Way and Sherry Armstrong.
Okay.
Back then.
Okay.
That's how I broke into the nonprofit world.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
We've still got a few minutes before we stop. So when you think about what you've just shared, just from the time you grew up, I'm so glad you went back. Me too. What stands out? What is the one thing that stands out from, you being in school, being in the neighborhood, and then the jobs that you had? What still stands out with you even today?
You said it. It was personal alignment.
Okay.
I think as I got older, I realized you can feel it in your gut.
You can.
I was like, I'm getting paid money. I live in DC. I got disposable income, but I'm not happy. And I'm like, and what's nagging at me? It's like, this life doesn't fit how I was designed.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that until I was living it. And I think I tell this to other people now, if you feel something's off, trust that I know you think this way.
Yeah. Okay. Did your health start to wane in any way?
It was more spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to a I was raised Baptist, but up there I started going to like a Unity church, and I went to a Unity class, and it was like heart, mind, body mind, all that. Yeah. And I had to draw it out and do journaling, things that I had never done before. We do that in Baptist church.
No.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm on the wrong trajectory.
Right.
And I was terrified. Yeah. Terrified to live into my alignment. It was very scary.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because
I was giving up. I was giving up all this.
No, because I believe that we all have a purpose for being on this planet. Right. Everybody does. Right. And there are so many people who are unhappy because they're not in alignment. And so for me, even God told me something in 2011, and I am literally just now
doing it,
surrendering.
It takes time, yeah.
It does, because it was scary, because I'm like, ain't nobody gonna want to hear that. but that's who we are. Yeah. So we're gonna come right back. And so I don't want you guys to go anywhere. We are going to talk about a whole lot more. You need to stay here. Hey, welcome back to Live in the Salon with Benita and Rita. I am Rita, and I'm with Reggie Gordon today. I know you guys are enjoying this as much as we are, because now we're going to move into some solutions or some suggestions or some challenges for you, recommendations, because we are all in this together. And I think this is why we've been friends for so long, because we've been, on similar paths with working not only with those that are less fortunate, but it's also important for us to get everybody involved and stop complaining, because don't get me started about folks who complain. If you keep complaining and you don't vote, you don't have no voice. You don't have a voice. So
Preach.
Okay, so let's talk about where you are now and what this office does.
So I am,
and you have a great staff.
I do. I have a fantastic staff.
Got a great
really
staff.
Smart people. I have a great board.
Yeah.
So the Richard Memorial Health Foundation has been around 27 plus years. It came out of when Richard Memorial Hospital closed. There was a corpus of money, and even that hospital believed in open processes, open admission, integration.
Yeah,
so
because both of my kids were born there.
Right. So we have a legacy of that, and the money that we are private, so we have money to give away. But here's what's going on in Richmond, which I think is fantastic. All the funders are in a space of being collaborative. We meet every Thursday, like Community Foundation, Jenkins Foundation, Robbins Foundation, Mary Morton Parsons, you name it. Shayberg. So we're all talking and comparing, contrasting what we're seeing in the nonprofit community and how we can be better partners in helping people to
be more effective.
Yeah. Because like you said, the big question is why? Why are we doing this in the first place? And we're coming to the realization with things like RVA Rising, which is a regional strategy for economic mobility. It's about economic mobility. It's about how do we get people to the middle class? How do we get people to have more money so they don't need to depend on a system that, as we now know, because of what's happening with the government, you can't depend on public benefits.
That's
you can't depend on
not even Social Security.
Not even Social Security.
I agree.
That means, and like you mentioned AI earlier, how can we incorporate all the things that are here and let's imagine 10, 15 years out so that people have their own money for housing, for healthcare, for education, for all the things now that we sort of created this alternative system.
That's a good word.
Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of nonprofits who try to raise money to help people not to die. And we're like, no. We got to have a common goal. This is what's new. This is what we are leaning into. Collaboration and coordination toward a common goal.
And that is for people to live.
To live and to thrive. It's not rocket science, but I think we just got so used to having a attitude of a lack of abundance.
That's it. That's it.
There'll never be enough. Woe is me. We need more nonprofits. We need more. We got to we got assets in the community. People who right now we might say pick an adjective that is not healthy, like disadvantage. Blah blah blah. Nope.
Yeah.
Everybody has purpose. To your point.
Exactly.
Everybody has purpose.
That's right.
So we got to get them aligned. We got to figure out from that mother who has 2 kids who's struggling, who now is trying to get SNAP. We're gonna say, okay, who are you? What is your purpose in life?
Right. That's
and
right.
You do this very well. And so how do we get you? You worked on this.
I did.
How do we get you lined up with the right job training program or education program? So within 5-10 years, you're in the middle class.
That's right.
As opposed to, let's help to get you signed up for all the benefits of food banks. We need those.
And then before you can open your mouth, you've got them. And it's like, okay.
Right.
Okay.
But it takes all of us shifting to agree that we see the value in every single person.
That's right.
And if we don't, every year we should all celebrate people moving. They're getting out of the system. They're on their way. And because, we have when I was at the city, we did great work with the Office of Community Welfare.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that is a national model for getting alignment around poverty, getting people to a point of moving up the ladder.
Right.
So imagine if that was our whole thrust. Anytime you present, we're like, let's tell us your full story. And we will use AI maybe to figure out what is the process to get
for you.
That's right. And it might require, like during the Great Migration, it might require you moving to Kentucky, because in Kentucky, people who have your profile
their jobs.
Are moving to North Dakota because they are hiring.
Right.
Not to talk about oil person.
But see, that's what that whole change piece is about, and folks need to begin to understand. Because I've always said, I don't like this job right here, and so I'm applying for this job right here. Well, it's the same thing.
Job.
It's the same
it's a
job.
lateral move,
And so it's a lateral move. So if you first start to just talk about, like I did with my granddaughter, what do you want to do? Do you want to be inside or outside? Do you want to be behind the desk, or do you want to be working with people? I think it's important for you to know what you want. Otherwise, you're going to go here and you're going to blame everybody because you didn't learn.
You didn't learn
from here.
Yeah. The other point that we have to do, those of us who have agency or power, or whatever you want to need to listen to the people.
Yeah.
Listen to the community.
Yeah.
That we need to have them appreciate civic engagement and realize at the end of the day, it's who you vote for.
That's right.
That at the local, state, national level. Right. Because if they're not aligned with your thinking, then you're a victim.
Exactly.
So that plus.
And those are words that I can't stand. Victim and lack.
I know.
Are two words that are just horrendous.
So we gotta pump people up, make them feel empowered, listen to them, and create strategies that are based on what they're the experts on their lives. Yeah. And we got all these degrees and stuff. What does it matter if we haven't walked in their shoes? If we're leaving so many people behind. And so, my company did the welfare to work. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And there were two women that I always remember. One, they had to dress every day. Yeah. And back then, it was in the 90s, we had to wear pantyhose. Right, and I did too, and I would hate it. Oh my God. But I was a model for them. Yeah. And so they had to dress the whole 4 weeks they were there. And so this woman got hired by the bank. She was super. And they called me on the first day of her job. And they said, you got to come get her. And I said, what happened? And they said, just come. And so when I got there, she was in a tracksuit and tennis shoes. And I said, what happened? And she said, I didn't know you meant we were supposed to dress like that when we got to the job. We never said it. I guess we never said it. Right, yeah. And so, of course, I took her home, she changed, and everything was fine. But that, like you say, it stuck in my head. Right. The other one was another amazingly sharp woman who got a job early on. And after about a month and a half, she quit. And I went to her house and I said, what happened? And she said, my boyfriend said I was going out to meet another man. He didn't believe I had a job. Now, he's at home. He's at home. He ain't doing jack. But and that's why she quit? That's why she quit. So that's another whole, Yeah. She was so good. Right. What you did, this is another element for this. Proximity and your network. Yeah. You got to have people around you who can do, when you have any doubt or questions, needs to be somebody you can call to say, am I doing the right thing? Right. Or even, he told me this. Yeah. In British, if you were able to enter, don't you dare quit that job because you see it's at home, But if you don't have anybody in your circle. Right. And I think of so many ways we could have done it differently now, and so many more things but at that time, it was get him a job. Yeah. That was Alan. Yeah. And he was like, get him a job. Get him off welfare. That's just get him off welfare, Yeah, we had, when I was at the city, we did job training too, and we had guys who were trying to break into, they lived maybe in public housing and had big jobs before, and so we were trying to coach them about work, and I think a topic came up like if someone on the job yells at you, how to navigate that, and we had plenty of men say, nope, I'm walking right out. I'm a black man, and I will not be disrespected. And so we had to change our training program to say, you got kids. Hold up, dog. You got kids at home, you got mouths to feed. Yeah, some white man might snip at you, but something got to go on in your mind. Yeah. We're going to help you figure out something. You can know how do you calibrate, get yourself together, and think about other ways of talking. Right? Because if you walk off the job with your head held, I'm a man. You can't talk to me that way, and you sit at home for the next 5 months with no job. So speaking of that, I did a job. We had a contract down in Lynchburg. And so the guys would come out of prison and they would be in this jail for 6 weeks or so. And so we were there to train them. And I love that. Because I would tell them, I said, listen,
I don't want y'all coming out here and getting with a hoe. That's what I said. Because you come too far. You come too far.
Right.
But there was one guy who, they were telling me about this one guy who was in prison, and they wanted him to come to this program, but he said, no, y'all can't tell me what to do, so he's still there. But they telling him what to do, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the prison.
No, preach. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it is.
It's like
what part did you miss?
Something we got to work on as a community. It's like that's an institution.
Mm-hmm.
So too many people are, even when I was in homeless
normalizing
services, even the homeless services, people like mad at us for trying to solve an issue.
Yeah.
Like it's America. I deserve to sit on a park bench. I deserve to get free food. I'm a man. I'm like, did you hear what you just said? It's just you're saying.
Part of that.
And they would say, y'all the stupid ones, y'all got mortgages and bills and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
and said, but I'm living life on my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally got bold enough to say, you're not living on your own terms. Mm-hmm. You're depending on somebody to give you free food. You're depending on the institution.
Yeah.
And that sounds similar to like, you get,
Yeah, I'm in prison, yeah.
Yeah. But it's so many of us, I don't know how we help each other feel empowered to not depend on the system. I know I sound back to like Farrakhan, but that's probably what my core is like. We cannot depend on anybody coming to help us.
That's right.
Ain't nobody coming.
That means us any good.
That means us any good.
Yeah.
And if they do, they'll do it for a little while until we're out of favor.
Yeah.
So we gotta get back to something that we used to have,
which is that community.
Which is that community.
Yeah. I have loved this.
Me too.
And it's just gone way too fast. So we'll talk more.
Okay, all right.
Because I know there are solutions.
Well, you really helped me in life too, so thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
Absolutely. So, you all, I'm always saying, I've got a YouTube channel, and you can go to Rita Ricks and ask me questions. You can email me at rricks@ritaricks.com, because this is something that is important. And if you've got suggestions, if you've got ideas, if you want to talk more, Reggie and I are ready to listen to anybody. So I'm just really grateful that there are people like Reggie in this system who have not given up. I certainly haven't given up. And I know that, a lot of folks our age are retiring. We ain't got time to retire. Ain't nobody got time to retire.
I would like to retire.
You can't retire. You can't retire. But I also, let me tell you where you can find us. First of all, I said you can find me on YouTube, but also we are on K101 2 Pop, the number 2 Pop. And it's streamed also. Our show is streamed in Odyssey app and Apple Music. So we are on the live in the Salon with Benita and Rita is on every Sunday at 101 2 Pop, right? And it is at 1 o'clock. So we're on for an hour. And we have a really good time. Because we always have a great guest. And we had, the guy behind the camera that we're always paying attention to. We had him last week, so you're going to see him next week. You'll see Reggie, you're seeing Reggie now, come to think of it. But pay attention to what we're doing, because we have a lot of fun, but there are also other great shows that are also on. And we are building Culture Mix Radio. We really are. So we want to give a shout out to Michelle. I want to give a shout out to Pete. And thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
And I'll see you again. Just get in touch with me. Have a good evening.
Perfect.
So we are back live in the Salon with Benita and Rita. I am Rita, and I've got Reggie Gordon with me, and I'm excited about this conversation. So before the break, we were talking about being in alignment.
Yes.
And I will tell you that I had a scare with blood pressure back in August, and my blood pressure, the top number was 207. I had never in my life ever had a problem with blood pressure, so I really didn't know what it was all about.
Yeah.
But I was on my way to Dallas. I wasn't on my way. I was going to leave the next morning, and I had been working all weekend to get everything straight, but I hadn't even packed yet. And I was leaving my daughter's house because that's where my office is. And I said to her, why don't you check my blood pressure? It's 9:00 at night. My driver's coming for me.
Did you feel dizzy or something?
Nothing. And so she got the packet, or the cuff. And she said there were no batteries. And so I said, okay, you know what? I got to go. We don't have time. And she said, no, I got some batteries. She put them in. That's when we realized it was 207. And just the blood just drained in her face. She looked scared to death. I'm still not understanding. And so she said, she took it again. It was the same thing. She took hers and she said, it's not broken, Mom. Something's wrong. And so I said, well, let me go in my office because I got a little shades in there that I can just lay out. Because it'll come down. It'll come down. I wasn't in that room in the dark 2 minutes, and I heard, don't go. I was supposed to be gone for 5 days. And I said, I got this. I'm not going. And so we went to the emergency room, and they took all of these tests. And when the doctor came in, he said, at your age, you are doing fine. He said, but you're a workaholic. And so I stayed home for 5 days and nobody knew that I was home. And I started to do coaching on myself, and I said, you know what? I need an intervention. I can do this.
Do your own intervention.
And I did. And I realized that there had been this stirring right in here. So I had normalized it because I'd probably had it 6 months, but I didn't pay any attention because it was normal. I damaged my nervous system.
Ooh,
I know I did because I tend to be a little shaky now because I was out of alignment. Yeah. And so when we talk, and I talk about this with women, so with lupus or with, or MS, any number of diseases that we get, oftentimes it's right down in here because we're out of alignment or we're trying to do for everybody else and not taking care of ourselves. Yeah. And so it is a serious thing that we have to pay attention to, You gotta
pause or at least realize you need to, something your body was telling you. Wait a minute, pay attention here.
And so this whole pause piece is what I now have launched because I realized just if you stop, if you just stop, but we as Americans,
we don't know how to stop.
You get fined for stopping.
You get fined for stopping.
You can't. You take a day as a teacher and you come back, and I love substitutes, but they ain't done a whole lot. So now you got to do what they didn't do and catch up. That kind of thing.
Interesting point about pausing. We don't want to pause during your work week for fear of being judged.
That's right.
But also we don't pause for vacation. We don't pause to
because we want to see 37 states in 2 weeks.
Exactly. We're always on high.
Yeah. And that's why I love Italy. I just feel like at noon, 1 o'clock, they just close down everything and just kind of chill.
And they're a beautiful community.
And it's a beautiful community. Yeah. So that was what I was resisting with bringing pause into the light. But at this point in time, we need it. And we need it especially with our kids. So now, I want to get back with you because I want you to talk about all of the different jobs
that I've had, okay, well.
But what you've done, the different places, because you were at Red Cross here.
I was at Red Cross here.
Williamsburg. So tell us what you did.
So after I got back home, I worked for United Way and was raised money. Then next year was first director of Homeward, which is the systems integrator for homeless services. That was remarkable because I had a great team, and it was very hard. It was very difficult work because it dealt with people thought maybe because I was a lawyer I had the aptitude to do it, but it was local government. You had people who were unhoused, people who ran shelters, people who were in the mental health business, substance abuse, churches who wanted to do feeding programs. All of them were sort of fighting to get money to help the homeless. So the goal was, what system is this? And the big epiphany for us was looking at the research and the data. Richmond did not have an overwhelming problem compared to other cities, but and most people were in and out of homelessness back then in 6 months. Homelessness started in Richmond in 1973. I know it's fact, but we figured it out. It was like things like deinstitutionalization, the family structure change. Before the 70s, if you had an uncle that had an addiction issue, was an alcoholic, or a sister that had, had to leave because her husband was beating her or something, they came into your house.
They came home. Yeah.
And so what happened in the 70s and 80s, people started feeling, I don't want them in my house. So they became the homeless. So one of our speeches was, that's your cousin, that's your sister. They're not a stranger. And so we built all these shelters and programs to deal with what we used to be, particularly in the Black community. We knew how to take that in. So it was really just putting the mirror back up to us doing homework and saying, this is how we can be more organized to help people. So that was an important.
Is it still active?
It's still active. Okay, it's still active. Yeah, we did it. It worked out nicely. Centralized process. We looked at. We developed new programs like a wet shelter, meaning a shelter. It's called the Healing Place, but a shelter for people who are actively using drugs. Because in that point, you had to be clean to get into the shelter. So that's why folks are on the street. Because they weren't allowed to go to the shelter. So
they certainly weren't going to get clean.
They weren't going to get clean.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
Other cities around the country had said, no, you can come in and actively use it. So we started that here in Richmond. So it was the community came together, and we had people who were unhoused. We say unhoused now. Back then we said homeless. On the committees. And one guy, I will never forget this guy. He sold drugs and he was on the street. And he was at one of our meetings to discuss what churches were fighting over. They wanted to do another lunch program during the day. And he raised his hand. He went, I'm going to tell you all the truth. He said, you know me, I'm homeless in Richmond. He said, I get breakfast, 3 lunches, and dinner every day because y'all's food is everywhere. He said, so I work a day labor job. I use my money for crack and cocaine and alcohol. So if y'all do one more program, you're gonna kill me. And boom, the room got quiet. He said, y'all are killing us. All this food and all this. He said, get it together. Just coordinate yourself. We need one breakfast, one lunch, one dinner. And he said, what we don't have, for those of us who go to work prior to 6 a.m., we need a breakfast that starts before 6. So he said, if you do that, then this issue is solved. And so one church said they heeded his warning, and they moved the lunch program to 5 a.m. on Broad Street.
Good.
Isn't that so?
So it's so simple.
I learned a lot about you got to have everybody in the room. That's the lesson I've learned. It started helping my whole career. You might be looking at some of a PhD to give you the answer. You got to turn to the person who lives it.
No, that's exactly right. I totally agree. I totally agree.
So I went from that to Williamsburg, Red Cross.
What'd you do at Williamsburg?
I was the director there. That was poverty prevention.
Poverty prevention. Right there by VCU.
Right there by VCU.
And that's still active?
No.
Oh, it's not? It's closed down?
Yep. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Okay. I shouldn't say it like that. When I was there, it was a great program they did for the whole family. It's called the Settlement House. In fact, it was started by Grace Ahrens. The concept was started by Grace Ahrens, who was Louis Ginter's niece.
Oh, wow.
She traveled the world, and she found that she made it for the poor Irish people who were working at Tredegar. They walked down the hill to Tredegar. They lived in Arcade Hill. So she said, in order for poor people to thrive, they need education. So she's created this thing called a kindergarten, which we've never seen before. A public library, because prior to that, only rich people had books. So all of that was part of Williamsburg. Isn't it fascinating? She brought all that to Richmond. And so over time, Oregon Hill became more affluent. So by the time I got there, we were busing kids in. Black kids.
Isn't that something?
Right. And so when I took the job, I loved it, but I was thinking, how many other groups now do after-school programs? And so there's too many of us doing this work. And I think it finally caught up with Williamsburg. I left after 18 months, but it was like, the world keeps changing, which is a good thing.
But we don't pay enough attention to it.
We don't.
We don't. We keep doing the same thing the same way, and we don't even care that we're not getting any different results.
That's true.
Which is why I think I love change. I love change, and I understand even in the times that we are in right now. change is important.
Right. Yeah.
Change is
And we gotta
important,
live with it.
And it makes you see a different way of looking at stuff. You know,
it's uncomfortable for most people.
It is uncomfortable.
I'm like you. I don't mind. I can live in the gray.
Yeah.
I can live in the unknown. I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's why when I was at William Byrd, it was like, maybe we don't need to exist anymore.
Right.
But that's heresy.
Right.
You don't tell a nonprofit been around for 80 years that it's over.
Yeah.
So,
but one of the questions that I ask for my clients and everybody, what is no longer serving you? You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what you did with what is it still serving?
Right.
The same people,
right.
Or do we need to move it somewhere else, or do we literally?
That was the question.
Yeah,
that was the question that didn't get answered until it was too late.
Exactly.
Right,
okay.
And I think this is gonna be hard. Look at what's happening nationally with funding.
Yes.
I think every nonprofit in Richmond needs to have that conversation.
Okay.
Every board, every nonprofit. There are hundreds, thousands of nonprofits. So, and they all have a mission. So the question is, have you achieved your mission?
Right.
If you started 50 years ago,
right.
And are you telling me that you still got to do the same thing?
Right. But here's the other thing. What's your vision?
What's your vision?
Because that's what I do with entrepreneurs. You know, this is what I do well. This is why I came into business, because I know how to bake. But what's your vision? Are you just going to keep baking? But, you know, or are there other things? And so now you've got these little bundt cupcakes. I mean, you know, we could kill ourselves just eating the different new ideas that are out there in bakeries.
And I think how it applies to nonprofits, they need to say, what is your vision? And the vision should be, I want to get people to a point where they are thriving.
Yes.
Where they don't need us anymore.
Yeah.
So how many nonprofits year after year will say, success, there are fewer and fewer people who need us. Mm-hmm. That should be the goal.
Right.
To the point where you did it.
Right.
You know, I can't find any kid that can't read in Richmond.
Yeah.
I can't find anybody that's starving in Richmond, but you've got to, you know, that should be the marker of rather than, oh my God, the need is great and growing.
Yeah.
That means we keep failing over and over again.
Right.
Oh, the schools or this, all these after school programs, and where are your students?
Yeah.
Did your students all pass and graduate? Because they didn't, and something's wrong.
Right.